in the den of iniquity. Vicinity no pretty, calamity fi hit we any moment. What a pity. Tomorrow never certain. What draws behind the curtain? The face of evil smirking with that shifty eyes averting. It's not a steady bubble that either pop or topple. Many will fall and stumble. Let the dozers gather rubble. From LA to Colorado, Guinea to Burkina Faso. Cannons will breach the towers and the troops will storm the castle. Hey, I say, run, come, make we get it. Because the peace that is bestowed upon the meek is overrated. So run, come, make we get it. Calling all your daughters and your sons, we come forget it. I say, run, come, make we get it. Because the peace that is bestowed upon the meek is overrated. Lord, run, come, make we get it. Calling all your daughters and your sons, we come forget it. With the rubble steady rising, and hearts are compromising. Convictions here are stifling, making evil appetizing. The fists are steady forming, and countenance is falling. Defenses are withdrawing, possibilities are falling. In these your circumstances, evil will make advances. Pick up your sword and lances, and be sure to take your stances. Victory is never promised, the battle is upon us. Gather the brave and honest, and the righteous in your corners.
Hello. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. With the shortened intro, we're coming to you live and direct. How is everyone doing today? I see Nicer in the house, and damn, I already see a super chat from Queen Q. She is the owner of an anime shop, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. Gotcha. Just here to support. Good afternoon to you too, Queen Q. I actually did not get the name of your store. I know everything about what you sell in your store. I took a tour of the store, virtual tour that is, when we did an interview on last Sunday with you and Bernard Riley's channel, but I didn't get the name of your store. You want to give the people the name of your store again? In Alabama at the mall. Queen Q, thank you very much for the $25 super chat. Much appreciated. Starting us off quite right here, ladies and gentlemen. So today we have an exciting show. We have a social experiment. We have a show and a social experiment for you guys. And let me see here. I would like to introduce to you a friend of mine, a dear friend of mine from a while now. My drummer, as they like to say. People like my drummer, my engineer, she she is the drummer of Soul Rising. Some of you have seen her in some of the videos that I've shared, or at least one of the videos that I've shared. And her name is Joan Quinto. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey,
Joan.
It's Joan. Thanks for having me here. I'm super excited. So we'll see where things go. I'm really excited to chat with Ike, discuss people, discuss relationships, and all those things. So, by the way, I played drums in that intro video.
Exactly. Oh, well, there you go. That's a good way to, the intro video, the song that you hear, Run, perhaps Nicer's favorite song. That is Joan on the drums right there in that song. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put Joan's YouTube channel. You want to tell them a little bit about your channel?
Yes. So I just started the channel sometime early this year. I've just been feeling like I want to share my experiences and my thoughts on things. And it's just about a lot of business related things, money mindset, meditation, intuition, things that just help me, with my self-development. I wanted to share through my YouTube channel. So hopefully if you check it out, get something out of it too.
Business mindset, money, meditation, intuition. If you like my channel, I think you'll definitely get something out of Joan's channel. I don't know. What do you think, Nicer? I think Nicer has been to your channel before. She leaves comments from time to time. What do you think about Joan's channel? Do you recommend? And also, Nicer, by the way, go ahead and periodically spam the chat with Joan's channel. I have left the link on there. So what are we doing today? Today we are doing a little bit of a social experiment, okay? And this is going to be an ongoing show. This is called The Review. Yes, it is The Review, not a review. It is The Review, the only one and legitimate review in these YouTube streets, okay? And we will be reviewing all kinds of elements of popular culture in order to explore the human aspects, the human psychology, the human communication, and the ways of being with a view to being better and doing better, because that's what we do on this channel. Over on this channel, we talk about being better and doing better with a strong emphasis on doing. And here we're going to be taking pieces from popular culture to review. Okay. And I think that you're getting a thumbs up there, 100% there from Nicer. Well, so we're going to be reviewing today a series called Blue Therapy. Okay? Now, it's not because it's all about relationships and stuff like that. You know, that is not the point. That is not the point, ladies and gentlemen. The point is, human beings are social animals, and in our relationships, especially our closest relationships, we get to find out whom we actually are, right? We get to find out what our buttons are, because those people closest to us can push our buttons. Is that not the case, Joan?
Yes, of course. The closer they are, the harder they push those buttons.
The closer they are, the harder they push those buttons. The closer they are, the more access they have to those buttons, the more knowledge they have of those buttons. And then we can see it's a reflection of ourselves. So I think that this video has like millions of views or something like that on YouTube. So we're going to take that. We're going to take this little sample, a little peek into the mind of the masses out there, and we see what they're watching. What are these people watching? Okay. What are they watching out there? And what can we say about it? Okay, so shout out one more time to Queen Q, Nicer in the house. We got Money in the Ghetto in the house. Thank you very much. Welcome one and all. So let's get right into this. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try to share this without making a complete fool of myself. Let's see here. So again, we're going to be reviewing parts of this video. Okay, it's a therapy video, and let's see how it goes.
Myself and my boyfriend have been going through a lot lately. This is the last leg for us. We're really
fair use.
Relationship. I've seen an opportunity for a social experiment, and I think that it's best we both come here and get some help.
You made me wanna melt. I've been with my partner for 3 years now. Just like everyone else, we've had our ups and downs. You know, things happen. But coming to therapy with a camera for some social experiment, it's a red flag, to be fair. And now, like, she knows my perspective on this. I'd prefer we go to a church and we sit down with a pastor in a corner. But, you know, us getting to this extent where we're actually here for a social experiment, it doesn't make sense. I think it's gonna go south. Like, I'm 90% sure, but at the end of the day, I'll just say, look, I told you so.
Fair use, ladies and gentlemen, fair use.
Hello. Hi, Denise.
Come in, sit down. Hello, Paul. How was the traffic?
Terrible.
Oh,
but
was
we're
it?
here. We made it.
My name's Denise and I'm your therapist today. Have you ever been to therapy before?
Never. We've never been. I did go online. I read how important it is about, having premarital therapy, counselling, and I do believe myself and Paul are in dire need of some help. I wouldn't say we've deteriorated to a point of no return, but at the end of the day, we're progressing in our relationship, and I'm not entirely happy.
Okay.
Boom.
All right.
Mute that. So right there already, there are a number of things that we can react to, a number of things that we could talk about. Let's start from the beginning before we get to that bombshell there about the I'm not entirely happy stuff. I'm not going to prejudice. Anyways. What do you think about this idea? This beginning, it's already a conflict where she's coming to this therapy session saying, okay, it's a social experiment, it's going to be an opportunity. However, he'd rather go private. She says, oh, this public thing might be a shock therapy or so on and so forth for them. And that might work. What do you think? Because one might say, well, perhaps she's just chasing clout. Obviously, she's photogenic. I think she already did say that this is not her first time on camera, right? Okay, not the first time on camera. She's gonna do this thing. They're like, oh, he's like, well, I'd rather go to a priest. And it was like, no, I think the social experiment, right? So what are your thoughts about this conflict here about, oh, let's do it all in public, right? Versus he saying, well, let's go to a priest somewhere.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it sounds like they never talked things through before this. Obviously, she's already made up her mind. Like with the way she says, like, I'm not entirely happy. She's made up her mind. We're progressing, but I'm not happy. So she's made up her mind to the point where she feels that therapy is the only way out. She says, oh, we're on our last leg. This is not exactly the point of no return. So there's a part of her that feels they need some kind of external help because they obviously have not talked amongst themselves, discussed amongst themselves. And I mean, to be honest, I don't think it's fair to him to just show up to a TV show, reality show about their relationship. I think they should have talked about it first.
And what do you think about this idea of shock? Like, the way I see it is if you need to shock somebody into understanding something, into getting your point, it usually has the opposite effect. You can't scream at somebody, slap them, shock them into getting a point to the degree to which the point has some kind of relevance vis-a-vis a goal. In order to get to point C, we need to do A and B. How do I shock you into realizing that? It seems like I need to calm you down and we need to get into some kind of agreement that point C is actually important to get to, and perhaps is point A and B, or point A and B the best steps to get there? When should we take that? Blah, blah, blah. As opposed to, well, let me do this kind of thing whereby you're going to realize that things are really horrible. It tends to be, from my experience, just a way for someone to do, it's like a last hurrah, but they're actually not trying to solve the problem. It's almost like I'm going to show you how bad things have gotten right before I turn it off. What do you think?
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly what it sounds like. She doesn't want to figure out all the other options. She wants to shock him. But as we know with human instincts and survival, when you shock someone, they're on survival mode. They're going to defend themselves rather than, oh, well, let me think this through before I die. So I think it's just one of those things where she has given up on him before she even gave him a chance. So I think that's why she's doing this. I mean, how would you feel if your partner just put you in therapy, just like that on the spot?
I would think that, so from my perspective, I'm the kind of person that's very introspective. Like, I go in and I examine myself. When you're introspective does not mean that you're blameless. It just means that you know what you know what you do and you're able to account for it. You can stand up and say, yes, I'm a bad person. I'm a horrible person in this particular ways. Yes, I did do that. In other words, I don't need somebody to go dig it up for me, right? I don't need to go to therapy to do that. Generally speaking, again. Now, if it gets to the point of shock, and this is not about the efficacy or the importance of therapy, but when it gets to this point of, oh, let me take you to this place in order to really show you how bad you are, I already know, given the kind of person I am, that this is more likely a case where they're not communicating or they're not introspective enough. They don't have enough self-awareness. Yes, I'm being very, it's like I'm not taking accountability. But I already know that if you bring something to me, I'm going to be the first to take accountability, put the blame on myself. What can I do? Yes, I accept that, and so on and so forth. So if we have indeed been in some kind of a relationship, some kind of a partnership, whatever it may be, business or whatever it may be, I know that I will have conducted myself in such a manner that I will have been accountable all the while. Hence, if it gets to the point where, I got to shock you into seeing how bad you are, it's like, oh, you're the one that's not being introspective. You're the one that's not coming clean as to how you feel or what the situation actually is. Now, I'll go, but I'm not going to have high hopes about it. I expect that it's just going to be your last hurrah, your little thing to kind of whip me before you do what you're going to do anyways. Right? That's how I would see it. Now, and we'll talk about therapy a little bit more in terms of how it relates to human psychology and all that kind of stuff, because I think that it is important. Otherwise, it would not be ubiquitous in human history. In human history, whether it be the confessional in Catholicism or these sacred rites of passage whereby you have rites of initiation where there are people that keep secrets amongst each other, right? It's kind of something that we need where we need to have these deep, dark secrets that we tell to only a few, right? We don't want it completely exposed, and we don't want it completely hidden inside either. It's part of, you can think about some kind of like the people use that whole hydraulic model of you got to release the release valves and all that kind of stuff. Regardless of how you try to model it, we see this kind of thing ubiquitous in human history. So I think that whether you're going to a confessional, you're going to talk to a priest, or you're going to see the shaman, or you're going to a therapist these days, that kind of thing is part of what we as human beings do. However, people are different, okay? And if you're quite introspective, I don't really think that you need as much, or you're not going to stay there as long. But what do you think about the bombshell, though, about the she said, or let me say what exactly. So she said what? What did she say? She said, we're making progress, right? But I am not
quite happy.
She says, I'm not entirely,
Yes, not entirely happy. Yes.
What do you think about that?
Yes. So sounds like she wants to be positive about it, right? Like what she says in the beginning, this is not, was it the point of no return, but this is the last leg. So it sounds almost, like she's saying we're progressing. So she wants to say that, oh, there's still a chance. I'm positive because we're progressing. However, I'm not entirely happy. Maybe at this moment, I think she's looking for a goalpost. She's looking for like, oh, well, I'm only going to be happy if I get to this point. However, as we know, emotions, happiness, it's all temporary. It doesn't last forever. So what is happy for her? What does she need from him? Be fixing the sound.
Can you hear me? Because I'm having some audio issues here.
I can hear you.
With my headphones, if you will. So I will have to go ahead and reconnect it again while I was changing the gain over here. Bear with me 1 second. Okay, can you say something?
Check.
I think I am back. And let me know, K Polymath, how the gain is. Thank you very much for the $5 super chat. Thank you for the $5 super chat. The Majid podcast says, always enjoying the thought-provoking discussions on this channel. Thank you, Brother Ike, and your guests. Yes, this is going to be a continuing show. This is the review with Ike and Joan. First episode, the inaugural episode. Yes, you were there in that. Is it spring or is it summer? Is it summer yet, Joan?
We're in between.
We're in between. In between summer. In between spring and summer of 2021. Yes, you were there on the YouTube channel when that show, the review, started, okay? And we'll be talking about all kinds of social experiments and so on and so forth, and we'll be taking content from popular culture in order to examine them. So I like your breakdown of what you said there about happiness not being a good goalpost. In other words, it's an empty bag that you can kind of fill all kinds of things with, and those things will constantly shift. And if you're saying we're making progress, but I'm not happy, what does that actually even mean? So, again, okay, lost some weight. Good puns there. Interesting. So let's get back to this. It's already exciting. I'm already enjoying it. Let's go ahead and unmute that and go ahead and play.
Okay. So Paul, thank you for joining us. Have you got any idea of what expectations you are looking to get out of this therapy session?
I have no idea. I'm curious to find out.
Okay, that's great. Well, it's great that you're here. So shall we start?
So, of course, this isn't my first time on camera. I'm very comfortable in front of a camera. I understand Paul isn't. I didn't bring him here to embarrass him, though. This is kind of like shock therapy. It might shock him into kind of seeing that we need help, that we've actually got problems within our relationship.
I'm going to ask Joan to just start us off. What would you like to start off with?
I love you. You do know that, right? And I feel as though we've got different views of life.
So to me, Paul is very image. He puts too much emphasis on how people perceive us as a couple, how he's perceived as an individual and how I'm perceived as an individual. Currently in our relationship, we're doing a lot of patching instead of really like fixing the issues.
Okay, Paul, do you feel the same way?
I'm literally blown away. Like, I haven't even heard this before. Do you want to give more context to what you're actually saying? Because
What do you think about her body language? What do you think about whenever he starts speaking? Let's do a little bit of a rewind to see what I'm seeing here. And the audience, do you guys see what I'm seeing? Am I tripping? Am I tripping or something? Or what just happened? What just happened here? Let's see. Let me go back a little bit. Click, click, click.
I mean, I did notice when she first came in, her body language, the moment they sat down, when you cross your leg, she's pointing away from him. So
Yeah.
clearly there's that disinterest already in what he might have to say.
Okay. Let's go ahead and actually let me unmute.
I'm a tiny bit.
Okay. Paul, for example, has a
And go back a little bit.
the issues.
Okay, Paul, do you feel the same way?
So Paul starts talking,
Blown away.
and
Like, I
he hasn't even said anything. And okay, look at her face.
haven't even
Okay.
heard this before. Do you want to give more context to what you're actually saying? Because
It's like, why do I have to explain to you? What do you mean, give me more context? Did we come here to talk? Anyway, so what? Again, this is about communication. This is about getting your point across and so on and so forth, like presumably to work on the problems. Why? What are your thoughts vis-a-vis this body language? You said you even noticed things earlier.
Right. So she's sitting down, her legs crossed, but pointing the other way. Like that's one of the things where they say, like, oh, if you're not pointing towards the person, you're not that interested or you're not that comfortable with that person. So she's already showing her discomfort about this too, even though it was her idea to come to this shock therapy. The moment he speaks, like she already turns her face away, can't look him in the eye, because she probably already made up her mind. Or maybe they've had this discussion before and it's just the same thing over again. Like he's just unaware, or he just doesn't get what's going on. Or he's pretending like he doesn't get what's going on. I mean, you're shocking him. So he's already in his defense mode.
Gotcha. So if you're going to deploy the shock method, well, don't be shocked when they get defensive, right? Good. So again, ladies and gentlemen, this is all about getting your point across. It's all about getting things done. And to the degree to which she's actually trying to achieve anything here, then I don't think she's being very effective so far. But let's go ahead and see. Let us see, ladies and gentlemen. And I will unmute that. And I shall play the video again.
tiny bit.
Okay. Paul, for example, has a lot of friends. He has affluent friends. He feels like he has to fit in, which he might fit in as friendship, but when it comes to finances, he doesn't necessarily fit in. So if we're looking at percentage-wise and when they go out and what they spend, they can afford it. We can't. But Paul will do it anyway. And then he'll spend the next week or two chasing the bag he's blown, which now leaves me in a deficit of love. So there's neglect going on in our household.
All right, so we literally just got here. Like, we haven't been here for 5 minutes. Choma's talking about finance to the bloody Denise, someone that we don't even know. Now, first of all, there is no man that's out there with multiple accounts, crypto accounts, high interest accounts, that's gonna sit down and show his girl his balance. So she doesn't even know the financial situation first.
So hang on, let me just let Paul speak regarding the image and the going out and, chasing the bag, as Shoma just said.
You know what's interesting? I actually think she's right. But let me break it down for you. I'm happy and I'm humble enough to be the brokest man in a room full of millionaires.
Fair
Do
use.
you know why?
Okay.
Do you know who would have the most to benefit in that type of situation?
You would.
So that's practically how I've been able to exponentially grow my income, basically.
He's taking the whole fake it till you make it to another extent, because at the end of the day, I'm not naive to know that you are treated how you're perceived. However, be yourself. With the whole spending above your means, should I say, yes, we can afford it. I'm not saying we can't, because he's the
So, finances, the deal there. Now, something I just noticed there is that he said that this is a means to an end. And she said, be yourself. What's going on there?
I don't know if it's so much about be yourself. She just doesn't like him spending money. No. I mean, he's
Okay,
spending
is
all
there
this money.
anything to what he's saying about, do you need to, you know the saying, you got to spend money to make money. Okay?
Exactly. Yes. Yes. So
Is it true? Is it true? Well, tell us. You're a businesswoman. You
yeah,
gotta.
of course.
Where do you talk about business in your channel. And by the way, the moderators should be intermittently spamming the chat with Joan's channel. It's somewhere in the beginning of the chat there. I think that Nicer perhaps already put it one time. But you have a channel. You talk about self-development, meditation, concentration, focus, getting things done, business. Is there a point to what he's saying about putting yourself in the right rooms and perhaps having to spend money to get to those rooms so that perhaps you might gain some knowledge, gain some acquaintances, gain some contacts, and gain some business?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, with my business, I spent a lot more money in the beginning, just learning and just being able to put my foot in the door before I actually start making money with my business. It's just one of those things where it's like, like there's no shortcut, right? To get to, like your first, I don't know, 6 figures or whatever. You have to learn as much as possible. And like, as far as I can tell from why he's doing that, he's trying to surround himself with the type of people he wants to be. And he feels that it's worth his investment to spend that money to impress them so that maybe they would share their secrets with him. Maybe they share something with him. Maybe they offer him a deal, maybe whatever it is. But it is true. You got to spend money to make money. And I totally see his point of view on that. Maybe she's not clear on that just quite yet. I think she just sees that, oh, he's blowing off all his money. Now he has to earn it back. Now he's not spending time with me.
Okay. Do you think that if he wasn't blowing the money, he would not be chasing money? In other words, do you think, and now we're because we got to have fun here. We're not, this is not a court case, right? So we're not over here like, oh, we have to follow what we don't know, these facts. Like, no. Do you actually think that he's the kind of guy that all of a sudden now he's working because he's spending more money? Do you think he started doing this yesterday? Do you think that perhaps she did not enjoy the fact that they were out there at the Marriott with the millionaires at that particular exclusive club doing all that kind of stuff? Do you think that he started working yesterday? And do you think this kind of I'm chasing the bag has something to do with the fact that he actually, what do you think about this in terms of what I just said here? Because she's not acknowledging that this is a means to an end, and she's making it seem also like it's something new. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, definitely seems like she's making it like it's something new. Although I have a feeling it's not. The way he talks about himself and what he does so far with his finances, it sounds like he's been doing this for a while. And she's talking about their image, like having this image together as a couple. Clearly, this has been going on since the beginning, and she probably liked him because of that at the beginning.
Does she look like someone who's not concerned with image?
I know, right? Oh, she's definitely not concerned with her image with that pink dress and her, push-up bra.
Oh, push-up bra, pink dress. I'll be like, I'm very comfortable in front of camera and all that kind of stuff. So, okay. You are saying that you got to spend money to make money. In your life, for example, have you done something like that? Is there a time when, so you said in your business you spent to learn, but in this particular kind of aspect of spending in order to be certain places, either for inspiration, to inspire yourself because you're like, for example, okay, there is go and anyone who's interested, the Wynn restaurant, it's not the restaurant, the Wynn Las Vegas, right? That hotel. There is a suite there, the sweetest of the suites, okay, the sweet of all creation, as as someone once called it. In other words, the top suite at the win. Okay,
I just got the joke.
you just got the joke. Yeah, it's an inside joke here, ladies and gentlemen. And by the way, for those of you who are just coming in, Joan is my drummer, my personal drummer, Joan.
I'm the drummer.
Exactly. So that's the stuff you hear in the channel, the songs that you like the rhythm, you like the flow. That's Joan on the drums, ladies and gentlemen. That is enough for you guys to go right now and click the link and subscribe to her channel. We want to get her at least, okay, whatever the number of people who are viewing this right now live, they should all be clicking the like button here, and they should be clicking the subscribe button in Joan's channel. So I went to the suite of all creation, okay? You can look it up. I don't want to see how much it costs and any of that kind of stuff. That's why I say go look it up, okay? It's ridiculous. It's stupid. It's like stupid money, okay? I did that for a reason, part of which was I find that once I touch certain things, okay, because I'm a motivated person, okay? I can't stop, won't stop. That's just part of the deal anyways. It's whatever, right? But I find that being able to smell the leather, if you will, being able to be in that heated marble floor room, with, the massage room. The room has a room for massages, okay? The massage room is bigger than the suites of some other freaking hotel rooms. Anyways, being able to do that immediately kind of removed a certain kind of, in other words, now it's almost like, in a weird way, I know this kind of sounds juvenile, you feel like, that's no big deal. You don't hold yourself back from thinking yourself as one of those. And I think in my last stream yesterday, we were talking about the aristocracy and how they're trained to be, one, competent, but two, also have a high level of self-esteem. And that these things are important. If you have a high level of self-esteem without being competent, it doesn't work. But if you have a high level of competence without a high level of self-esteem, with a high level of thinking, this is who I am who I am, I can stand with any man, any woman, any whatever in history, then you actually don't achieve great things. Now, I'm going on and on about it, but what in your life, have you ever done something like that whereby you spend money for access or to be around a particular type of people?
Yeah, absolutely. When I started out the business, I was seeking out like, okay, how do I start it off? Like, how do you even start, right? And I've never done it before. So I felt like it made sense to seek out that knowledge somehow. And yeah, I ended up blowing off $500 just to sit down with someone for an hour at a fancy Santa Monica hotel that I would never really frequent. Bought him a nice cocktail because I wanted to, show myself like, hey, like this is who I am or how I want to be perceived, that I can do this. I can buy you a drink and I can pay you $500 so you can share with me your secrets. And because of that, like I was freaking out originally, like my old self was freaking out like, oh my God, I'm spending $500, for an hour. But, from that point on, that also shifted my perspective of money and how little $500 really is, because later on, I felt like I used that knowledge to get that money back and some. So definitely have done that before. I've done it a couple of times. And because now that I put my foot in the door with this mentor, he's just openly sharing all kinds of things like, hey, you should take this course. Hey, you should meet this person. You should be in this group. And that's super valuable just for that one meeting I did. Now I'm, getting closer and closer to be in that kind of circle of people where very knowledgeable, very successful. And it was definitely worth it. It was life-changing.
Oh, okay. So there is return on investment on this thing. And he said, to the degree to which we can believe him anyways, he said that's how he's been able to exponentially increase, which she did not deny. She did not immediately say, what do you mean? You've always been broke and you're still broke. So somehow he answered the question, and the fact that she did not push back answers the question as to he's always been doing this. She has seen him do this. She knows where he was and where he is now. Mm-hmm. So what's the issue? Okay, so let's go back. But first of all, yes. Jonathan Barronville in the house. I think that's $50. Is that $50, Joan?
Oh, that looks like $50. Yes.
That looks like $50. Yes, we're both glasses wearing people here. Looks like $50. Thank you very much for the $50 super chat, Jonathan Barronville. Let's go ahead and continue the video.
First person to speak about finances, and we need to save, and we need to do this, and we need to do that. But As much as, I purchase nice things, Paul does a lot of the spending. And in the past, we've had situations where he's invested and there's been no returns. So I don't feel like I need to suffer at the expense of his investing and putting himself in positions to get deals when not all the time it works out. And we're together. Do you know what I mean? We're in a relationship. We're not business partners. So I'm suffering for nothing.
Do you feel that it's an equal situation?
She just said she's suffering for nothing. Okay. So am I nothing?
That's not what I said. It's like your comprehension. This is why we're here, because anytime I bring up at home, he dismisses it.
Really?
Okay, you're not comprehending what I'm saying.
Okay.
I've literally just explained it.
Yeah. Okay, look.
Out of everything I said, you got that bit. Like, Paul's,
Fair use.
he takes what he wants to take, he hears what he wants to hear, and he sees what he wants to see.
I'm not dismissing it right now, right? We're having a conversation. I don't know you from anywhere, but you're here. Let's have a conversation, right? So when we first started dating, she was happy with, the drive, the ambition, me taking, calculated risk here and there and gaining rewards. She's the first person to come and, say, oh, congratulations, babe, let's celebrate together. But then I've actually kept the same energy, and now it seems like she doesn't really have the same energy. So who is the person that's falling off?
Okay, so in other words, I'm a hater.
Well,
Because I still would celebrate your wins.
no, that's true. But the only thing is, let me give you an example, right? So literally.
Reactions so far. Just pick it up from wherever you would like.
Okay, so explaining the finances, and he's talking about like how he's always kept that energy, but she never kept up with it. So,
Okay, so we were right. Okay.
yeah, that's interesting because he clearly, as far as like what she says, like he cares about the image. He's wanting them to be that power couple where they discuss their finances and what to do with saving and all that stuff. I don't think she's acknowledging what he's saying. It just comes off like she's not really hearing him too. But I do agree that I think he's also just picking at the things that he wants to hear as well. But again, like finances is a very touchy thing when it comes to relationships, right? Like when you first start dating someone and I don't think people are comfortable sharing their finances right away. And, they've been together for 3 years and, at this point, they're still not clear on, like how they are with their finances and their goals together. And that's something that's probably what maybe she's seeking from him. But I don't know. I'm just hearing them banter back and forth. It just sounds like they've never talked about this before.
That's a good point. Shout out to Snuggles. Thank you for the fight.
Someone told me to do a drum roll every time I see a super chat.
Well, yeah, but, in future, maybe you have your little synthetic drum thing or whatever. Yes. This is the inaugural episode of The Review with Ike and Joan. Ladies and gentlemen. There you go. No, that's crickets.
There it is.
So I think that, first of all, you acknowledge the fact that, okay, we were right about the fact that he's been doing this thing for a while. And both of them seem to be very, at this particular moment anyways, lacking in self-awareness vis-a-vis the other person.
Right.
Now, you might say, well, maybe he's being shocked or whatever. On her part, she came in with the Paul has this image thing. That's not the way you talk about other people. You know what I mean? It's like Paul likes to, it's like you cannot necessarily get into in these kinds of social dynamics. In other words, we all care about what people think about. Like I'm the most introverted type of person not just introverted, but a particular type that really, really is introverted, really has all kinds of interests that are solitary activities, and I need a lot of time on my own to recharge. Even I care about what people think about me. Okay. Mm-hmm. So when you have these things that are ubiquitous, all kinds of people deal with it in different ways. You all deal with the social dynamics in different ways. To point it out in someone else and say, the way you care about what people care about you is bad. It just starts off on, it's just so kind of wrong. And now she was like, you see, that's the reason why we're here. Your comprehension. That kind of a thing. My view in this kind of give and takes in terms of communication is to be overly deferential to the point of view of the other person. In other words, both people have to do that simultaneously. You have to be like, not thinking about what the other person did, but what you're doing. And then the other person thinks about what they're doing, right? That is causing the conflict. This is the only way it works. You have to be introspective. In other words, she, rather than say, you're correct, you've always kept this energy. What did she say? She said, oh, so you're calling me a hater, right? He's like, I've always been working this way, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, oh, so you're calling me a hater. It's like, that is massive goalpost shifting. And I think it's quite disingenuous. I think it's disingenuous. It's not, because she acknowledged, what do you think about that? Because she didn't say, oh, you're wrong. It's, oh, you're giving me some kind of ad hominem. Even if, yes, he might have said it in a certain way where it's picking. As I said, both of them are kind of lacking self-awareness right now. Yeah. But rather than say, okay, it is correct, but the thing that makes me unhappy is I'm starting to realize XYZ. Right. I was wrong when I didn't think blah, blah. It's like, oh, so now I'm a hater. Like,
yeah, I mean, it's the whole defense thing, right? Like the defense mode that you get into when you shock them with something. And like both of them are lacking self-awareness. Yeah, they're throwing things at each other. None of them acknowledging what the other really says. He's not really acknowledging how she feels, and the other way around. And I think she's getting defensive. Like now she doesn't want to acknowledge that, like that he was right about something or the other way around. So I mean, it's just like that lack of self-awareness. There's no accountability. It's like, here, we're here at therapy to, hash this out, talk about it. But it just sounds like they're not solving anything yet at this point. So
So that is a good point that you mentioned. And shout out to Jonathan Barronville. I think you're out here competing with Snuggles. Says, I see Snuggles in here, so I gotta continue the beef. They have $5 beef. So Snuggles is the $5 super chat champion of the world. Let me introduce you to Snuggles. She was the one that gave the $5 super chat earlier, and now Jonathan Barronville is beefing with her, dropping $5. You guys continue the beef. Keep on dropping the $5 super chats. Much appreciated. We encourage you to do so. So I think that one could say, okay, fine. You're irritating me right now, the other person that you're communicating with. However, if you indeed have a purpose other than I'm here to show up on camera or I'm here to whip you, which I think tends to be more of the case.
Yeah.
Right? Then you would say, look, I have a program, I have an agenda. And part of my agenda is to clarify certain things. One of which can be clarified by the point you just made. Okay, fine. You have always done this. Let me pick that up and start talking. Yeah, I don't like you. I hate the way your face looks right now, blah, blah, blah. Right? But to the degree to which I have an agenda here, a positive agenda to actually clear out the table, to make myself happy, whatever she means by that, then she should say, okay, fine. You've always been doing this, but here's what happened, okay? My feelings have changed. And yes, I take ownership and accountability for that. Feelings do change. So how about you acknowledge the new place that I'm at right now, and let's talk about the new place that I'm at right now, where the novelty of you being this Benz riding, hardworking man that I loved, which she did not say was not a problem, or that was not true, that novelty has worn off, and now maybe I'm looking for something else. Do you think it is possible that it's not really the fact that he's working, but the fact that he just needs to... What do you think she really wants?
She wants more attention from him, basically. I mean...
Does attention really mean don't go to work, stay home with me? Is that what it means? I'm confused. You tell me.
Yeah, I know. Attention, like she said what, like she feels a deficit in love, however she worded that. So maybe she's not getting the affection that she desires. Maybe he's not, buying her flowers anymore. Maybe he's not reminding her how beautiful she is anymore. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what she wants. She hasn't really made that clear what's making her unhappy. I mean, clearly there's a neglect. She feels neglected. So she's not getting something from him.
Okay. Okay. And yes, by the way, Snuggles, you're right. They are Nigerian, hence the entitled attitude that they have. And yes, the beef has begun. Yes, I encourage the beef. John, well, do you mind reading what Snuggles says if you can? Joan?
So, Jonathan, let's begin. I got here late, so we introduce me to your guest. What are they about? This is a very interesting dynamic I'm looking at.
Interesting. Well, this is Joan, and by the way, have the moderators been doing their duty? Yes, Nicer has been doing her duty. K Polymath and the rest of them have not been doing their duty in terms of sharing the burden of dropping your link on the super chat. Joan is my personal drummer.
Okay.
Joan is a drummer. She is a businesswoman. I've known Joan for how long? How long have we known Joan?
I think it was like 10 years.
Yes, at least 10 years. And she what's the name of your wedding band?
We're called Boogie Agenda. It's our agenda.
Boogie Agenda. Joan, one of Joan's businesses is she has a wedding band. She lives over here in California, Southern California, and we've known each other for 10 years. She has a YouTube channel. She talks about things that are similar to what I talk about, but I say she's better at being concise. She does not do 3-hour long streams and stuff like that. She gets to the point. She talks about how to stay focused. She talks about money, mindset, meditation, business, and what have you. So yes, Snuggles, that is whom the guest is. And then they go on, don't they? They go on, both Snuggles and Jonathan Barronville going back and forth. There you go. And now what is Snuggles saying?
All right, Jonathan, this is how it's going to go. You can do $6 or more. You leave the $5 to the pros. Stay out of this lane.
Exactly. Much appreciated, much appreciated, much appreciated, ladies and gentlemen. And now let us go back. People are currently to let's see. When you say currently, it almost seems like, well, were they less stupid at some point? Are they gonna get less stupid? I don't know. But let's go back into the video and let's see what's going on here. Let's see Wagwan. Unmute.
I have access to a good number of private members clubs. This is through the clients of mine. I train high net worth individuals, celebrities, you name it.
What's with that body language, people?
Yeah.
No. What is there some kind of a justification for? Or let's psychoanalyze it a little bit. Like, okay, obviously she's heard him talk before, right? Mm-hmm. And she expects him to say something different or sound differently, like not to. What is going on here, Joan? Tell us what's going on in her mind here.
I think she's heard this before and tired of hearing it, but clearly she still doesn't understand his point of view. I mean, when you're in a relationship, you're supposed to relate, right? She hasn't quite related.
She doesn't think his point of view is legitimate. She doesn't think he has the right to have a point of view, is what I see. Look at this. What I see there is not, I don't understand your point of view. That's not what I see. I don't understand your point of view would be a furrowed brow, a chin, rub, this is, look, I don't understand your point of view is like, this is, I don't think you have the right to have a point of view. You don't get to talk. You don't get to say anything. You don't get to talk about your business or whatever. You don't get to be an individual of any sort, right? That is what I see in this body language, and I don't think it is productive at all. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I definitely agree on that. She's made up her mind about him. She's made up, like she already like expressed the little that she has so far, but she's made up her mind, and he's trying to defend himself. He's trying to say like, this is why I am this way. And for her, it's like, I don't care why you think that way. I'm not happy. So that's what it just sounds like that's what it's all about. Like she is not happy and he still doesn't get it.
So I have a simple, it's not a theory. So emotions are selfish. Do you understand what I mean by that?
Mm-hmm.
Emotions are not objective. By definition, they're subjective. They're about a feeling. They're internal. They cannot be observed by anyone else. And when you hold on to them, it is one of the most selfish things you could do. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely.
And that's what she's doing right now, saying, I have feelings and they trump everything else. The feelings make me move like this and get exasperated. And so, anyone listening out there, to those of you who are emotional, ladies out there, okay? It's fine to have emotions, okay? It's fine to have emotions, but you need to understand the pitfalls. Any attribute you have, any characteristic you have has an underbelly, has a flip side, right? Would you agree, Joan?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, with emotions, I feel like when I'm super emotional, I feel like nothing else matters. You know, I just think a certain way. My mind is not as clear as it would be when I'm not super emotional. And I think emotions just tend to, emotions taking over for her, and she's just refusing to hear anything else.
So, okay, let's go there. Okay, let's go there. Let's go there, Joan. What advice would you, because you say in your channel you talk about how to get things done. And perhaps an important part of how to get things done is to control your emotions. I don't care who you are, right? Whether you're Tiger Woods, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Mike Tyson, whomever, they all have some kind of practice whereby they're able to control something. Some people do the ice bath thing. Some people are meditating in different kinds of ways and so on and so forth. But that control thing is ubiquitous in people who are achieving at a high level. Now, what kind of advice would you give her in order to become more self-aware? Not just her, people in general. What do you do?
What do? I look within. I find a moment to just calm myself down, ask myself questions like, do I want to feel this way? Is it valid? I mean, of course it's valid. You feel, like you shouldn't feel sorry for your emotions. However, a lot of people tend to hold on to these emotions, and these emotions end up controlling every decision they make, every interaction that they have with the person they have a problem with. I think like most people just don't know how to take a step back, separate themselves from their emotion, and just evaluate like what's going on. Now they're just clouded with all this drama from these emotions. And for me, I just feel like, I'm trying to remember like the last time I felt super emotional where I had to snap out of it. And it's been years. So, for me, it's like I had that moment where I was so emotional. I was thinking all these unreasonable things. I was not even looking at the person anymore, as who they are. I had this idea of who this person is because of how I was emotionally feeling. And I think most people just have a hard time realizing that their emotions doesn't, I don't know, like I guess like emotions isn't always reality, like you kind of become blind to the reality of the situation or the person when you're just caught up in your emotions. That makes sense.
You look within, you find time, okay? And again, you what you mentioned last year is the reasons why you don't want to be caught up in the emotions, because emotions are not quote unquote reality. They, to the degree to which one has to look at objective reality and deal with the outer world in order to get things done, then being caught in your emotions is definitely not going to help you get there, right? And you're saying that you find time to look within. Okay, I think that's good. Do you practice any kind of meditation or something like that?
Oh yes, absolutely. I've been meditating almost every day for the last 3 years now, and
Damn.
I've definitely, I haven't been always consistent, but when I do, I am. And I definitely notice my growth in how I master my emotions. I don't, I like things don't trigger me the way they used to, because I've reflected. I've had that moment where I just had time for myself and I reflect on what's really happening. Is this really worth crying over or being mad over? And a lot of times it's not, like emotions just blind us from what is really happening. And this is the whole thing too. With like, I want to talk about this in one of my videos in the future, but it's like, when it comes to relationships, it's like it's your ego interacting with the other person's ego. So your ego has this idea of that person's ego, and that person has an idea of your ego. And to that point where like the ego has taken over everything, they're not really seeing the person for who they really are. So with this couple, he's hardworking, wants to make money. He's probably the type that just sees himself as I'm a man, I'm a provider. And she looks like she's got her own thing going on, and they're not seeing eye to eye as to, why she feels neglected, and why he works so hard, So I think it's the egos are just clashing with the two. They're not aware of themselves. They're not aware of each other. And because of this whole shock therapy thing, they're both now like on really defense mode. They're trying to survive this therapy session. And let's see how much the banter's over.
I see. That's very good, ladies and gentlemen. And one more time, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is the review with Ike and Joan here on the Ike Gammon channel, where we talk about being better and doing better. And we will be reviewing, as time goes on, all kinds of content from popular culture, seeing what those people out there, according to Redu. I'm blind, so. Yeduru, the stupid masses, what the stupid masses are watching out there, and what we can glean from it, and how we can use it as a foil for understanding ourselves, talking a little bit more. Now, I'm glad that you mentioned meditation, because, I talk about it, and I talk about it, and I talk about it, and people's ears are probably bleeding from me, always talking about meditation and mastery of your subjective consciousness. It's nice to hear someone else say it, and talk about its efficacy and the fact that you've seen growth and so on and so forth. It is absolutely key. Absolutely key. If she was a meditator, what would she be doing right now? She would actually be meditating right now. If she were me, anyways, if she were my kind of meditator. In other words, this is the time when you need to bring those skills to bear, right? This is the time when you're sitting there and you're breathing and you're listening. Your heart rate is going up, and you're watching the heart rate go up. You're not reacting to it. You are trying to be present and to be aware, not to be doing your hair and, oh my God, this person is. So this is key, ladies and gentlemen. This is why you want to go to my playlist on meditation and master your subjective consciousness. All right.
Now, with these membership clubs, obviously it's not everyone that's, invited. And I feel like that kind of affects trauma. Whereas before, if we were going to like a normal type of, average, maybe not average Joe, but the usual, then I'll kind of be, oh, babe, come along. But when I'm actually, grafting and chasing the bag, as she said, I don't really feel like she needs to be present, and she actually doesn't have an invite anyway, so.
Okay, that's not what I'm not upset that I'm unable to come to the events that you go to and to the gambling places, because it's gambling, if you ask me. It's casino, isn't it? So the clubs you guys are going to and the money you're spending, some of it is gambling, all right? Because everything he likes to say is constructive. Clubbing is not constructive. It's not beneficial to our relationship or to him. Even places like that, he places too.
Notice how she knows everything that's beneficial to him and what's beneficial to everything. I mean, she literally just said something's not beneficial to him, like kind of thing you don't say to a child after they go past. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah,
if they're not your child. Anyway, go ahead. What do you have to say about that?
I mean, it's like, oh, how do you know it's not beneficial? I mean, or to him at least. I mean, she has, again, I just feel like she still hasn't made her point. Like, okay, what is it that she's lacking from him? She's just assuming like, oh, this is not beneficial, but maybe in his eyes, it is beneficial for them.
So, look, when it comes to these kinds of, in all kinds of relationships, I even like whether it be a romantic relationship or even with my male friends of a certain kind, right? I always find the need to, at some point, to warn them about who I am.
Or that you're reckless.
What do you mean by that, Jonah? All kinds of things are coming out today. What do you mean I'm reckless?
You said that before.
I'm I'm a chaotic person. Okay, it may not. I do you understand what I mean? Okay,
Yeah.
good. I'm a chaotic person. We're like, oh, what do you mean? You're an engineer. You do this and you do that. You work a lot. It doesn't mean you're not chaotic just because you're working a lot and doing all kinds of things. That is chaos to be able to do those things, okay? To be able to juggle these things that I juggle requires a lot of chaos. It requires a lot of internal turmoil that you have to grind your way through. And also, there's a lot of external uncertainty as to the efficacy, the outcomes of the things that you're doing. There's a lot of risk. They literally just talked about gambling, right? There's a lot of risk, of metaphysical and actual risk of all kinds. So I always, and also there's a certain kind of element where a certain type of person will see you as somebody that uses people. That is something that and the reason why is because those people tend to tell me that, right? So whenever I know the kind of person I'm talking about, I don't necessarily need to describe them in detail. But there's a certain kind of person who sees relationships in a certain way. I don't see it that way. Relationships tend to be more transactional for me, okay? And a certain type of person would look at me as, oh, you just use people. But so I always want to tell them that. And then when it's a personal, like a close relationship, or a romantic relationship, let's say, I always make it clear as to who I am in the very beginning. Like, look, even before it gets there, I'm like, you know what you're dealing with, right? You know this is a crazy person, right? You know this never stops, right? Like, this is not some kind of a show. Let me put it this way to you. Is it the case that women tend to think that when they meet a guy, that the things that he's doing that they like about him, do the women tend to think that, oh, he's just doing this for me? like, oh, he's just being a dancing little monkey, hardworking little club going, hustling, taking risks. Oh, I like it. But when I'm tired with that, then I'll tell him to stop, and then he doesn't do it anymore. I'm sure, look, the men in the chat, give me a 1 in the chat if anyone has ever experienced this, okay? You have certain things that you do. It's endearing, it's adorable, it's great in the beginning. Tends to have to do with being conscientious, industrious, hardworking, perhaps, taking on different tasks, perhaps taking on risk and so on and so forth. And then later on, at some point down the line, it's like, well, you need to stop that now. And it's like, well, what do you mean I need to stop existing? It's like, don't you understand that people are what they are? So is it really the case that women tend to think men are just doing a dog and pony show for their benefit?
Yes and no. It depends on the woman, but from my experience and just knowing other women, there's definitely a lot of them that, oh wow, that's hot. Like, I love that he's like that. I love that how he's, like, risk taker, and that, all these things, like the whole, like, oh, I want the bad boy, but then, like, once I get the bad boy, now I want him to be a good boy. I mean, that's definitely, yeah.
You say you noticed that, okay? Now, I tend to think that, if you're, well, I tend to think that we can, not completely, but we can, let me put it this way. There's some human tendencies that are universal. Some people have more of it and less of it. In other words, this whole thing about somebody doing something and then you wanting them to stop or something like that, it is not completely unrecognizable to me. It's like it's far away. I kind of I have to squint to be like, but okay, cool. Human beings can do that kind of thing. That's why I'm able to even articulate it. So what do you think is going on with that kind of thing? Because it happens over, even though you can watch rom-coms or movie, like, it's just everywhere. We see it over and over again. What do you think is going on there?
I mean, it's the whole idea with the honeymoon phase, right? Where everything's fun and exciting. And then you get to that point where this is the problem with expectations. You have expectations of this person in the beginning, and then you have expectations of this person later on. And the problem with expectations is that you tend to get disappointed because you keep holding on to that. So with this couple, for example, like, clearly she's had expectations of him and her expectations of him changed. Whereas with him, he's always had the same expectations of himself, maybe of her too, because he couldn't keep up the energy. But I think what's happening is that, the fire is gone and she's trying to figure out, okay, where do we go from here?
Okay, so expectations and expectations always change. So it's not a question of having the right expectations, right? It's you're always going to be disappointed. And if you're the person that likes to ride the roller coaster, at least know you're riding the roller coaster. In other words, if you like to like expect and then at least make a game of it. Don't then become angry at the world. Don't become Cain and want to kill Abel because the world does not go according to your plan, right? So resentment can be a bad thing, and resentment tends to come from these expectations and things like that. So I think that's key. Now, ladies and gentlemen, again, I would like you to subscribe to Joan's channel. Okay, we would like to give her at least 30 new subscribers today, at least 20 new subscribers. How many more subscribers have you had since? Let's go ahead. Let's do a check. Let's do a check on your subscriber count. How many new subscribers have you gotten since Nicer has been placing the... And shout out to Jonathan Barronville. How many new ones do you have?
Let me see.
Let's see.
Checking my phone right now. Let's see. Well, I want
Snuggles
to hear,
and Jonathan Barron.
I want to hear your point of view as far as like, okay, so you're a successful guy with a engineering firm and but you're also a musician. Like, did you come across these expectations from women where it's like, oh, he's a musician, oh my god, that's so hot, like, and then they get to know you and then suddenly they feel like, oh, I don't want you gigging anymore, why you always got to play that gig? Do you ever come across that?
Oh yes, 100%. And ever since I was, so you can even take it all the way back to high school and things like that, where it was other kinds of activities. I've always been this chaotic, do many, many different kinds of things type of person, okay? In this particular regard with the music, okay? Oh, yes, I enjoy the fact that you're creative. I enjoy the fact that you're able to control a crowd. And I like seeing my man up there doing that kind of thing. Now, the thing that I tend to notice about that is I think there's some kind of projection that goes on. In other words, the reasons that they like it, they think those are the reasons that I'm doing it for. And that's why I'm saying that it's almost like it's an idea of you're doing it for their benefit. In other words, oh, I like to see you up there doing that kind of thing. And they think that I'm doing it because I just like to be up there doing that kind of thing. They think it's just a some kind of pure psychosocial satisfaction I'm getting it from, right? It's all about being the center of attention, for example, right? But they don't understand that it's a little different. I've had one person tell me before that they don't know what it's like to have something that they have to do. In other words, for me, whether it be music or studying philosophy or just generally or doing this kind of thing with the engineering firm and so on and so forth, and just constantly pushing myself to grow, those things are not like, choices. It's just, well, it's either I'm doing that or I'm dead. Like, I don't understand the not doing that. So this person does not understand that. So they were telling me, oh, you're just like one of those athletes, right? And it's kind of like, and we know what they're all about. It's all about attention. And you're going to go out there and you're going to cheat on me. And who are all those girls that are always coming to those gigs? Why, whatever. Why did that Mexican woman touch your chest on that particular gig? You're gigging and the 40-year-old, there's something about 40-year-old and above women that, let me not use the word, but they're quite rapey. We know, they get very handsy, but that whole idea. But to answer your question in a more straight way, yes, I've seen that idea of you really know who you are, right? That's one thing that they say in the beginning. And then in the end, it becomes very annoying. As like, why can't you bend for me? Why am I not enough for you? Why do you have to do these other things? In other words, they're always trying to be. A woman will never be number one. Let me say that again. not just for me, but for anyone like me, women are not number one in our life. Okay? And a woman, dare I say, that is smart doesn't want to be number one. Do you know what it looks like when a man has a woman number one in his life? Okay? That's not the kind of guy or the kind of situation you want to be in. Okay? That looks like suicide murder. Okay? That does not end up in good places. When I say the words, and that's why I repeated the words to be for the jarring effect, it sounds a little jarring, like, oh, yeah, I'm number one. But look, a man cannot have a woman be number one. That's insane. It's crazy. Before you met him, he was him. And you like him because he's him. You're not going to knock off that thing. Don't try it. If you want to be somebody's number one, go look for another kind of guy. Right. So yes, I've had to deal with this kind of thing, of trying to be number one. Oh, it's your work, and then your band, and then me. And it's like, well, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like she wants to be his number one.
If you want to be my number one, let me know your future plans. So let's play a little bit more of this. We don't want this to be too long, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe just about an hour and 15 minutes. How are we doing on time so far? Did you find out if you got any new subscribers? Because
I got 10.
Wow, what do you think about that? Is that good?
That's not bad for 1 hour.
That's not bad for 1 hour. 10 subscribers for 1 hour. Thank you very much. You guys are very, very kind. You guys are very, very kind. And thank you, Nicer, for doing your duty, dropping the link. Okay.
Thank you.
So let's watch a little bit more of this, and then we'll have wrapping thoughts. And maybe we'll continue next week. We'll be doing this every Wednesday, ladies and gentlemen, until further notice. And we might switch the days and so on and so forth. But this will be a weekly occurrence. Okay. The review with Ike and Joan. Let's watch a little bit more of this, and then we'll give some closing thoughts and call it a day. So I think I gotta unmute that, and then
too much emphasis on how they look at him. So you're out here doing the most, buying so many bottles, paying 10K for tables, and it doesn't make sense. And I'm at home being neglected. When he comes home, he goes back to work. So my point is, you're putting too much emphasis on the way they see you. Why is that? You're supposed to be impressing me, not them.
So the type of people that I deal with, they're on another level, to be fair. They're high net worth, and they work really hard for themselves. Now, for me to be able to kind of be that act of service for them, you can imagine how hard I have to work. If they're calling you, you need to answer. If they're sending you a message, whether it's a text or WhatsApp, listen, you need to be on point. I'm able to give them that service.
Oh, there's another
I'm
girl.
on my way for this social experiment. I'm quite excited. I'm happy that Jamel is using this initiative and wants us to be part of this. There's a few things that I do want to get off my chest, so it'll be nice to speak to Jamel, speak to the therapist, and I'm excited.
Deborah, did you travel far?
I didn't actually. I live in
Let's see. Let's not muddy the waters. Let's stick with Paul and her.
Chiomana? I don't know.
They say Chioma.
Chioma.
But it's Chioma.
Chioma.
She's an Igbo girl. I am Igbo is a particular Nigerian tribe, and yeah, an interesting crew. So I think that she started to get more to the neglect thing, right? Which I just don't wonder why. I wonder why people don't just go directly to the look. You work, you come home, I feel neglected. I'm jealous of the people you've been with. I'm jealous of the people you've been impressing, right? You're supposed to be, quote unquote, impressing me, not impressing them, which kind of BS. Like you're supposed to be impressing whomever you need to impress in order to get whatever you want, right? It's like, it's that whole I want to be on top thing again. It's like, no, get the hell out of there, okay? Point is this, and I'll let you kind of give your closing thoughts on this here. If she leaves this guy, she's going to go look for another guy just like him.
Yep.
Okay. Because she's not going to no simp you're my number one girl. What do I have to do for I come home to you? I do my 9 to 5 and I diligently come home to you and I run home and what do you want? And I wash your... She's going to throw up in a week after for that kind of a stuff. Okay. So this cycle whereby people are unaware of what they want and whom they are and what the consequences and the trade-offs, what the flip side of the coin of both their personality and the personality of the other person is, this cycle tends to happen over and over again until everything blows up. Now, unfortunately, one gender has more time than the other, right? You can, you get what I'm saying, right? Mm-hmm. As a woman, you can't keep on, you can get rid of that one and try to find out, and then, he's annoying too. At some point, I'm not saying you cannot have relationships till you die, but the kind of guy you're able to get when you were in your 20s, in your 30s, it's going to start changing, okay, as you get older, okay? And the guys that you're dumping, fine. They could be 40 and they'll be doing fine still in the dating market, okay? Especially if they're this kind of guy, right? So what are your thoughts, closing thoughts vis-a-vis what I just said, and also closing thoughts in general about this first episode of The Review?
Well, as far as what could happen with the two. So if she leaves him, she is definitely going to look for the same type of guy. She seems like the type that looks for powerful men, men that she admires, that works hard. That's just the vibe I get from her. However, if she has that expectations where, okay, I love him, he's great, he's this and that's an idea that she has of him, but is she going to accept him all the way? When you get into a committed relationship, for me, I'm all about committing all the way through the ups and downs. And maybe there's been a lot of downs for him in her eyes, but for him, maybe he sees it as ups. But again, she's going to run into the same situation until she reflects with herself and what she really wants in a relationship. She needs to reflect. It's like, okay, is this the kind of guy I really want to be with? The kind of guy I can, marry? I just get the impression just from something he said earlier that, he'd rather, instead of talking to a therapist, he'd rather talk to a pastor. So he seems like a very traditional guy, like traditional values. So he's definitely the type, like he wants to be the provider. Maybe he would prefer that she's the type that's not on his level, if that makes sense. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what she does. Are they... or is it kind of like a competition for her too? Like she's competing for his attention. She liked that, he's a certain way. Maybe she's jealous of the time that he spends with others. She wants to compete with that and she's not quite winning. And so she's getting frustrated. But I mean, I think that's the issue with most relationships, right? It's like, are you committing all the way? Or are you going to accept the person for everything that she is, no matter where they're going through in their life? 3 years is a long time to figure out what you want in a person. So I think she might be better off looking for someone else, or I don't know. I mean, she's probably just going to end up the same type of guy. That's just my thought on her.
Good point. And then my closing words here are, it just came to mind now because I thought I already had my closing words, but for people like him, number one, get self-aware. I don't think he has the kind of self-awareness that he should have. Okay. And make deals. Okay. What do I mean by that? I mean this. Hey, prior to, right? In other words, the kind of person's personality, and you know how to communicate with them. Okay. However, this person, whatever the communication style is, inform them, communicate to them that this is what you are. Okay. Now let me put it this way. Let me put a grand picture of it, and then we'll get a small thing. The big picture is this: when a man brings a woman into their life, if you will, it should be like a business proposition. I don't mean that is literally like that, but the man should think that way. Okay. You got to be strategic about it. In other words, you need to say, okay, I am Jonathan Incorporated. I am Kaizo Incorporated, whatever it may be, right? And these are the goals that I want. And this is the position I have to fill. The position typically is of a woman is the marketing position, because a woman makes a man respectable in the eyes of the world, makes him responsible in the eyes of the world, because otherwise he's just a man. By just a man, I mean he is fodder, he's a soldier, he's out there, pillaging the land. That's what he does. That's what we do. We're not necessarily to be trusted, right? Until we respond. When you see, the example I always give is if you're in a desert, okay, and you see a whole bunch of people approaching you, and it's 100 people in horseback, all men. Second scene, 100 people approaching you, and it's 100 people in horseback, but oh, there's grandma, there's a child, there's a newlywed, there's some women. In which scene are you going to be more comfortable, right? What set of people are you going to trust more? It's clear. When men are responsible for something, right, they're more trustworthy. And also, they look better. The woman actually looks better. Women look better than men, right? You got the nice woman in your arm. You're standing there. That's why the CEOs or the president of the country, you got to have your first lady of this. That can't just be some dude up there. People are like, what are you about? What are you trying to do, right? It's like, no, I have a wife. I have a daughter. You see, I'm not going to do anything bad. That's the whole game. It's the marketing department. You need to understand that. And you need to, again, it's not like you're presenting it this way, but you need to know this. That's the big picture. So in the smaller pictures, you need to make it clear as to what you are. Like, I'm the kind of guy that works this way. This is never going to change. Okay. Then you make the deal as in, look, okay, this is what I require of my marketing department. And this is the compensation package, right? Look, one weekend out of every 2 months, we're going to put our phones away. We're going to get in the car or a plane or whatever, some cottage, some cabin, some whatever. We're going to go away and it's going to be all you, right? Or whatever it may be. In other words, know how to deal and make deals where your demands are clear, your expectations are clear. That way they can accept or reject. They can't be like, oh, I never knew this was the deal, right? Right? Because that's why it's called a proposal. If you're going all the way to marriage now, it's called a proposal. It's like, I am Jonathan Incorporated. This is the marketing position. This is what the marketing position pays. This is what the benefits and so on and so forth. This is what I require, and this is what you get, right? Then it's not a question of, oh, I never knew, right? It's not a guarantee that things won't fall apart, obviously. But at least you laid it out, right? In the kind of, again, this is for men, right? I'm not saying that, because this is very stripped of all emotions and all that kind of stuff. But that's how you have to be, especially if you're that kind of guy whom I can also identify with, right? You got to be strategic about it. You got to know what you're bringing to the table. You have to be clear about your expectations. Hey, stay, shout out to Kevin Samuels, stay fit, feminine, and friendly, and cooperative. Do that and make me look good in public. And I got you. You get these things, and I got to work. That's the deal. But here are the rewards, blah, blah, blah. So that's kind of my advice for that. Now, I'll give you another last word in terms of reacting to what I just said, or is that crazy in your view?
I think for the typical emotional woman, that would be crazy. However, because I'm also on that mindset where, like, I want to build something, I want to do something for the world, community, whatever. And for me, like how you also explain, like, when you're choosing your woman to be in the marketing department, it's also kind of like choosing, are you going to be with someone who's an asset or a liability to you? And I think that's also something that I've kind of realized, like, especially in the modern world. I mean, should the girl, Chioma, whatever, she seems like a modern woman. Maybe she's successful. She has her own business. I don't know. She's probably doing something. However, if you're not aligned in this, path together, this journey together, then it's never going to work. And, for me, it's like, I would want to share something with my partner. And I think they're not sharing. I mean, he's trying to share with her what he's, his journey, but she doesn't want to take part in it, although she sees it as like neglect. So Hopefully that makes sense.
Oh,
Yeah,
makes
I mean,
perfect sense.
yeah. So, I mean, what do people look for in relationships, right? And that's the thing that people need to figure out. Like, are you looking for someone to fill a hole? Or are you looking for someone to ride, like sail the ship with? So I think that's something that a lot of people just need to reflect on when they're choosing to be with someone. Obviously, it is kind of like, oh, is this beneficial for me too? I mean, it sounds bad, but it's like, okay, if I date this person, is it beneficial for me emotionally? Like, will I grow with this person? Will I learn? And will I continue growing as a person being with this person? I think those are things that people should consider. I think with the couple we just reviewed, it's just a very interesting dynamic where they're just not on the same page.
I see. 100%. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. A very special thanks to Jonathan Barronville and Snuggles. I'll have to go back and tally the $5 back and forth to see who won, but we definitely appreciate it. We definitely appreciate the support. We definitely appreciate the subscribers. Joan has gotten at least 10 new ones, and now this keeps you accountable, Joan. Now you got to give him content. You got to get on that grind. You got to pump out that content. Okay. Yep. So always nice. Always a pleasure, Joan. And I'm going to take us out. Yes, you are welcome. We're going to take out and let's see. Let me I'm gonna go out with the new outro since I'm doing that. Let's play that. And we got Joan on the drums of this song, okay? In the den of iniquity, vicinity no pretty, calamity fi hit we end him. Gotta bring some live drums next time, and you gotta do a little thing. All right, ladies and gentlemen, peace out. Thank you
guys.
Gone.
In the den of iniquity, vicinity no pretty, calamity fi hit we any moment, what a pity. Tomorrow never certain, what was behind the curtain, the face of evil lurking with that shifty eyes averting. It's not a steady bubble that either pop or topple. Many will fall and stumble, let the dozers gather rubble. From LA to Colorado, Guinea to Burkina Faso, cannons could reach the towers and the troops will storm the castle. I say, run, come, make we get it. Because the peace that is bestowed upon the meek is overrated. So run, come, make me get it. Calling all your daughters and your sons, we can't forget it. I say, run, come, make me get it. Because the peace that is bestowed upon the meek is overrated. Lord, run, come, make me get it. Calling all your daughters and your sons, we can't forget it. With the rubble steady rising, and hearts are compromising. Convictions here are stifling, making evil appetizing. The fists are steady forming, and countenance is falling. Defenses are withdrawing, possibilities are falling. In these your circumstances, evil will make advances. Pick up your sword and lances, and be sure to take your stances. Victory is never promised, the battle is upon us. Gather the brave and honest, and the righteous in your corners.